Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the JustNabz podcast with your marvelous captain Nabil. And
Nabila.
this
Hey.
this is getting too narcissistic, isn't it? Oh, anyway, how are you?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm very fine, thank you. So, first day of Ramadan there.
Yes, it is. And
Well,
it is the hottest day of the year, I think.
is it?
It's boiling.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a very good start to the day. What about you? You are on your
second day.
second one. Yeah.
Yes, first of all, of course, Ramadan Mubarak to every single one who's following us, to our Muslim friends. And yes, it is the second day here. Yesterday, I think it's been quite good. I usually suffer from some bits of headache come like 5, 6 p.m. So yesterday was no news to me, but yeah, I think overall I'm very fine, thank you. It's not hot at all. It's actually quite cold, and
The headaches is your body detoxing.
yeah, it is maybe. I usually eat so much shit food, so I think yes, it is, and but the thing is that since I don't eat during the day and it's quite cold in here, you I mean I feel the coolness of the weather even more. So yeah, that's my single issue when I'm out.
Okay, don't make me jealous.
Move to Italy then. You can move to Italy during your summer and then go
I
back.
can't speak a word of Italian.
You
I
know,
can just say ciao.
that's something, and that's all you need. But we usually use hand gestures, so it
Oh
shouldn't be
yeah.
hard.
Oh, I'll be good at that then. It's fine.
Very good. And how is your day going?
It's been good, busy. I just started my business last week, so
Hmm.
I am you know,
Hmm. Congrats.
slowly building, getting into it, and yeah, it's been fun.
Very good.
And what about you?
Welcome. Oh, I think quite fine, I shall say. It's getting increasingly boring, with the whole situation, and I'm getting increasingly bored. But yeah,
Are you
I
still
can't
in
complain.
lockdown?
Kind of, yeah. No, it's kind of a lockdown, so I'm allowed to go out for work purposes or for essential purposes, but nothing more, I shall say. And that's why it's getting increasingly boring. I usually went to work or study in a cafe, for instance, and I can't now. And now that they're opening back, I'm fasting, so I usually just stay home and work. So yeah, it's getting boring.
How long are your days?
24 hours.
No, man. How long do you fast for? Because it's like
Uh,
before
yeah,
sunrise
of
and then
course.
sunset.
Uh-huh. So we start at 10 to 5 a.m. and it's up until 10 to 8 p.m. So it's like 15 hours.
Oh, that's a long time. I think ours is just before 5
Oh,
currently.
oh,
Yeah, so it's also from like before 5 in the morning till like just before 5 in the evening.
oh well. Um, I think, yeah, I think my worst year has been like 3 years ago. That was my longest fasting time. I used to fast from like 4 a.m. up until 9 p.m., something like that, and which is like
You,
17 hours.
I could never. I
Yeah.
think the latest our sunset is like 7. So even in summer, I don't think it will ever go past that.
Oh, it did here.
I can't move to Italy then.
Why are you not moving? Oh, you have to fast 17 hours. That's quite the
Yeah,
reason.
that I actually considered that when I'm like considering moving to countries. I'm like, okay, but when Ramadan comes, like, how many hours am I going to be fasting? So,
Well,
I mean, probably
it's
winter in Europe is better,
yeah.
but summer, never, never in my entire life.
Oh, might be, might be.
Okay, yeah, well, Cape Town summers sunsets like 8,
Yeah.
but lucky I wasn't there when
Oh,
they were fasting that time. So we're going on about Ramadan and stuff, and our listeners are probably like, okay, we know you fast, but what is this month like, or what is this whole Ramadan thing? So as the episode goes on, we'll unpack, you know, speak about our experiences with it. Yeah, and then if there's anything else that people want to know, you can get in touch with us. We also have a guest. You know what? I love Twitter. It is such an effective way of networking. So I got into contact with someone who found someone who agreed to be a guest today, and I'm so excited. Yeah, so first things first, you are probably wondering what is this Ramadan thing that you're talking about? But I mean, it's 2021. You should have some idea by now, unless you live under a rock. So, Ramadan is basically a month in the Islamic calendar where Muslims are obliged to fast, abstain from food, foul behavior, and not even water.
yeah,
We can't even have water from before sunrise until sunset.
yeah. And it is. We shall also add that it's a month in the Islamic calendar, and the Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar which consists of 354 days instead of 365 days, which means 11 days less. That's why from year to year, Ramadan starts approximately 11 days earlier. That's because every single month in the Islamic calendar has 29 up to 30 days. It never goes to 31. If you if you do the math, that's the 11 days that go the difference between the two calendars. If you take February out of the maths, because February has 28 to 29 days as well. So that's why Ramadan is not every year at the same time, and it shifts 11 days a year.
The best part is like when you're working and you need to tell your boss, I need a day off. And they're like, okay, when? And you're like, I'll let you know the night before. and then, yeah, but no, I was lucky to work in a place where they understood the whole Ramadan thing, so that was fine.
Yeah, and also it's not 2021 in the Islamic calendar. It's like
Yeah, it's
1441,
1442.
1442. Yeah.
And yeah, so I am going to introduce our guest. She is actually a revert to Islam. So she is a new Muslim. She is new to the whole experience. She didn't grow up fasting, unlike us. So Zakirah, welcome.
Hi, how's everybody doing today?
Good
Very
in you.
fine.
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on this podcast. I'm like so excited. I've never been on this type of platform before.
You are most welcome. We are so excited to have you with us today. Yeah, it's something different. Like, I know growing up, we always just took Islam for granted, and fasting, we just like, oh, this is something we have to do. But for you, it's different. How First of all, how did you revert? How did you find Islam? How you finding fasting? And what does it mean to you?
Well, I reverted in 2019 after getting into contact with a Muslim friend. I obviously didn't know much about Islam growing up. You know, you mentioned earlier, if you don't know anything about Ramadan, you're probably living under a rock. And I think that I was living under a rock, hey? Because the only things I actually knew about Ramadan was that, you know, Muslims fast. And basically, they can't eat or drink. I didn't know for how long. I didn't know, like, all the in-depth details and stuff. So I think that if you're not born into the religion, we're very naive and we don't really take any chance to actually learn about any other religion. We're just so into our own. Well, anyways, that's for me. I can speak for myself. So I became very ignorant about what other people practice or go through. So Ramadan, it's been good this year because obviously I've done this 2 Ramadans before, and this one is my 3rd one. My first Ramadan was very quickly after I reverted, so I actually didn't know much going into it. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know what the month was about. I just knew, okay, I'm going to be fasting from sunrise till sunset. And that's what I did for the month. And as the month went by, I started learning, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. Yeah, I haven't been doing that. I'm supposed to be doing that. So last year's Ramadan was obviously in lockdown. And I think I learned so much last year Ramadan because I had that time. Because when you are working and, you know, you have your daily life activities, it's so difficult to learn something new from scratch if you didn't know anything about it before. So this Ramadan is actually, it's the first day. It's been good thus far. I feel more prepared than ever.
Yeah, so yeah, you mentioned that you didn't know anything about it, and I said, you know, we're so lucky, like growing up, you know, our parents tell us like this is, you know, you have guidance. You grow up going to madrasa, which is like an Islamic place of learning, like Islamic
Yes.
school. So we grow up, and you know, we just take it, we take it for granted. And then I think I only like discovered that, you know, it's more than just not eating. It's also a very spiritual time,
Yes.
where you connect with your creator, you pray more, you and that I only discovered like in my adult years. I mean, as a kid, you're just like, oh my God, I'm so hungry and I'm just doing this because I want it to be eat and I want money. Well, that was it for me. Like, I remember we used to have calendars, you know, the tear off calendars.
Yes.
And every day after we finish a fast, we'd tear off a slip and then collect the slips. And then on Eid day, we'll exchange it with our parents for money. So that was the most
That's
exciting
such a fun
part.
tradition.
Business.
Yeah. So I know quite a few people who like looked forward to these tear off calendars. It was very fun. But yeah, as you get older and the tear off calendars are not in existence anymore because, you know, everything is digital now. You discover the other part of Ramadan, like you know, you start learning more about how the doors of mercy are open for you, and well, you know already that the devil's locked up, and it's you know, it's a perfect opportunity for you to ask for forgiveness or ask for anything you want because your prayers are going to be accepted. So yeah, that was my experience. What about you, Nabil? Did you grow up fasting? Did you keep all your fasts as a kid?
Yeah, of course. So when I was a kid, of course, I was born and raised here in Italy, and for that reason, I think my parents have done an outstanding job in keeping both me and my brother close to religion, because it's not easy, you know, growing in a foreign country, in a Christian country. We had some hours of religion taught to us in elementary school, which I didn't attend because we have the freedom not to attend them. But then again, we didn't have any madrasa or anything, so of course that was a bit trickier. So yeah, before hitting puberty, I hardly think. Yes, I did fast sometimes, some days, especially coming to my 13s. And then I think when I was 13, because if you don't know that, you're obliged to start fasting every year since you hit puberty, which for girls is your first menstrual cycle coming in, and for boys it's how do you call it in English? Ejaculation during the night. It happens the first night. That means you've hit puberty. And I hit my puberty at 13, so quite early to some standards. But since then, I've always fasted, and I think at the beginning I was lucky in some ways. The first 3 to 4 years, I did my fasting in Morocco with all my family, my cousins, and we used to spend the whole night playing FIFA on PlayStation, and we used to go to sleep around 7 a.m. and wake up around 7 p.m. to eat again.
Oh my word.
So yeah, at the beginning it was like that, but then that's not fasting. So and then studying and work comes into place. So yeah, now I live a normal life. But yeah, all in all, I think I've had, I think, a gradual experience with Ramadan, starting from the easy, not fasting basically, and then yeah, of course, now it's a normal life.
Yeah, so that we see, the difference. Like Zakira, you were a lot older when you started fasting. Was it a huge adjustment?
I think it was a very huge adjustment because in the religion that I practiced previously, fasting meant something else. We had a different definition for what fasting meant. So we could eat all day and night. We didn't have to be praying 5 times a day or anything. Fasting just meant that you had to abstain from eating meat. So you could eat vegetables, and when we were growing up, that was like the worst. Oh my word, I have a month of eating vegetables. So
yes, I remember the kids in my school when they were like, "Oh no, I'm fasting, and I can't have this, and I can't have that," and
exactly.
I was like, "Try my fasting."
So then when it was like, okay, no, now you have to fast the Islamic way, and you can't eat, and then I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. It actually, I can't lie, it was good on me. It wasn't so difficult. I think what got really difficult is that the age I started fasting at, I was in a working career, in a working environment. So
yes.
My job didn't say, okay, also you're fasting now, and I think maybe you should give you less work. No, it was my job. Basically, when I first started fasting, I was a recruitment officer. So I was doing interviews throughout the entire day. I was interviewing people. And
yes,
now this
and you
was
had to
me
talk
talking.
the whole day.
Exactly. So by 12 o'clock, my brain shut down. My words started getting like, my tongue was twisted, and it was so difficult for me. So then I just go back to the office, and I'll be like, I'll sit at my desk and I'll be like, please nobody talk to me because I have another interview in like an hour. I need to gain some energy. So I think that was the most difficult part for me, is just not being hungry, being thirsty. But I mean, I made it through the month, so I was very happy about that. So I think it was just that adjustment at the stage of my life. Obviously, I didn't have like years to prepare my body from childhood up until being an adult to understand this. But I think it got easier over the years. Like now, it's much, much better, I think. And lockdown was obviously better.
What attracted you to Islam that made you want? I know you said you researched and you spoke to a friend, but something must have been the jewel that caught your eye.
So I actually didn't know much about Islam growing up, as I mentioned, because all I really knew was what the media portrayed, which was not the best thing. I mean, my family, my friends, we all stayed away from Islam because it just was very negative. As I
Yeah.
thought, up until I researched it, and then I found out how beautiful Islam is and how, media is just portraying it in the wrong light. So when I was doing my research, I came across many debaters, many Islamic lectures and stuff. And when I was growing up, I always had this thing where, obviously, okay, so I was Hindu before I reverted. And when I realized the reasons that Islam had for why they don't portray God, why we don't have an image, why there's no statue or whatever the case is, I felt like I really connected to that, because when I was growing up, I never used to want to go by the God lamp. I just sit in my room and I talk to God in my head. And so my father used to always tell me, oh, you got the devil inside you because you don't want to go and pray. And then I say, I don't think I need to look at something to actually, feel God's presence. So it was a part of that, and then obviously learning about our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and finding out the way he lived his life. And then I realized Islam is not just a religion, it's a lifestyle. We have been given the tools to best use this body on this earth, to make the best of it, so that we can enter paradise in our afterlife and stuff. So as I researched more and more, it just got so beautiful, and every time I would hear something new, there used to be this thing that came over me where I just want to cry, and I just feel so emotional, like I really connected to it. So then I felt like, okay, it was about 7 to 9 months. Then I said, okay, I'm ready to take my Shahada. So Shahada is to come into the religion, to read your kalima. And then I took it, and then now it's been 2 years almost.
Wow. And your family, how did they react?
I'd have to be honest, it wasn't very good, because if I had the perception of Islam growing up, which was very negative, then my family obviously had the same perception.
Yes.
So when I reverted to Islam, it was very difficult on them. They couldn't understand why I would come to this religion. I changed the way I dressed, I changed the way I looked, I changed everything about myself in a very short space of time. So they had so much of difficulty adjusting to that. Because before I used to have my hair was down all the time. I used to always have my nails done, a full face of makeup, and then I just changed so fast because I realized why I don't need to do these things, and I observed more modesty. So they had a difficult time with that. It was a bit tough. I moved out my house because we couldn't see eye to eye, basically, about me changing my religion. They thought that, okay, she's just going through a phase, she's going to come out of it. Then when they started seeing, okay, it's going on longer than it actually, they thought the phase would last, they got a bit upset. There was a small period of time where my family and I didn't talk to each other. I wasn't allowed to come home or anything like that. And then after that, eventually they started realizing, okay, she really loves this religion. They started seeing a difference in my character and the way I behaved and stuff. And I think they were a bit more lenient on me, and I think they missed me maybe. So eventually,
of course, yes.
Eventually we got back into contact, and I'm actually so grateful because now we are in such a better place, especially after lockdown. And then everybody really started realizing the importance of family, the importance of people, that then we started seeing, okay, there's a time limit, there's an expiration date, anybody could go at any time. It really hit everybody hard. So I think that lockdown period really worked into my advantage to getting my family back on my side. So now things are much better. They are more understanding, and now they learned more about the religion in the light where Islam actually stands and not what media says. So now they're more accepting. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. I think a lot of people who it's not an isolated incident. A lot of people who do revert have issues with their family, or their family has issues with them converting, or I've heard a lot of stories where people have had to cut their family off completely, never made
Yes.
peace with them ever. So you're lucky that your family came around. I know like a lot of Christian boys will tell me, they'll be like, "Oh my God, I want to marry you," and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, well, I'm not going to give up my religion. So it's either you revert. Or they're like, no, no, I can give up pork, I can give up drinking. I'm like, okay, boy, it's more than that. But if you're willing to, I can teach you. But you have to do it for you. You're gonna have to do it for yourself, not
Yes.
because you want to marry me. um and then you get some that are like, oh no, I can't give up the drinking, or I can't give up this, or um so yeah, it's funny to see people's reaction when you ask them if they would revert for you.
No, definitely.
Well, not for you, but I mean to marry you, because I mean my parents are like, okay, you can bring home a non-Muslim boy, but he's gonna have to become a Muslim, because how you going to raise your children. And also in our religion, you can't actually marry someone outside your religion, outside the religion.
Indeed. Zakira, I'd like to ask you, when you reverted, how did you start learning, or previous to reverting, how did you start learning about Islam? Did you have any community you could resort to, or anyone specific who helped you through this process, or was it all on your own?
So I had a friend that helped me a little bit, but obviously my friend was male. So when it comes to females and Islam, there's a little bit of a difference with, for example, how we pray, for how we dress and stuff. And you really can't go to a male person to ask for those things because they themselves don't know too much. And I basically watched a lot of lectures online from scholars because everybody, as soon as I told them I reverted, and if they were a Muslim, they said, okay, don't go to Google. Don't go to Google because Google's going to give you all the wrong information.
Yes.
So I was like, but where do I go? Because I knew a few Muslim people, I worked with a few Muslim people, and everybody would give me this line of, oh, if you ever need anything, please come and ask me. I'm here to help you. And the thing is that, yeah, you're here to help, but I don't know what to ask you because I don't know where to begin. Like, somebody needs to be there to tell me, okay, today is a specific day, you're meant to be doing this here, because other than that, I really wouldn't know anything. So I don't know what to ask anybody. Then eventually I started, I started a female madrasa where they taught ladies. So that became a little bit of a hassle for me because I was working and it was an inconvenient time for me because there's not many that happens on weekends. And then after lockdown, somebody reached out to me and told me that, okay, so there's this group that we have, and there's a madrasa that's on a weekend. So then I got into contact with that, and I've been learning my madrasa since. So it's been a few months now. So that's why I say I know much more now than I knew previously, because I've been attending that madrasa. And because I had such a difficult time when I reverted, getting like some kind of community to assist me, or like friends and stuff, because obviously I didn't know many Muslim people that I had that relationship and bond with. So I have a platform where, like on my social media, I have a good following. So I put out like a group chat where I said that if anybody wants to join this group chat, it's for reverts. Even born Muslims can join, and we can all build this community where we help each other out, because when you don't know anybody in Islam, it can be so difficult and you feel so lost. And I feel like the beginning stages of your reversion is the most crucial time, because if that time you feel lonely, that sometimes will make you want to leave the religion. So I have this group chat that I have on WhatsApp and on Facebook where we share about Islam. I mean, it's actually been so nice recently because Ramadan is up, so everybody is posting as much knowledge as they know and like trying to help everybody out. So there's a sense of community in that I really, really enjoy.
Wow, yeah. That's very nice to hear, because also I know, our hometown, as a Muslim as well, people in the community can be very cliquey and, outcast people for not being a certain sect. And yeah, so I kind of I feel you on that, but I can't imagine like the intensity of that loneliness. But I do kind of have an idea of what you mean, where you feel, you're isolated and stuff.
It's not just that sense of loneliness of not knowing. When you become Muslim, right, your entire lifestyle changes. So you can't eat at certain restaurants. You go to like halal restaurants, for example. And when I started going to all these Muslim-owned restaurants, I was the only person there. I was alone, right? And I'd see all these families come with like 5 children. They've got their grandmother, their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, and like there's these huge families that would come. And then I'm sitting there alone, and it was just so intimidating because like, in Islam, like, people have more children and family is so close and there's such close ties. Like, in-laws live in the same house as you. And especially here in South Africa, and it was a culture shock for me because the religion that I
Yeah.
came from, it wasn't that way. And I just felt so intimidated. Like, if I have to ask one person for something, then the entire family is going to be there staring at me. So it was different. It was much different. So I felt that isolation in that sense as well.
Oh, I see. And since you reverted, which has been the hardest rule to comply with and your favorite, let's say?
I don't have a hardest rule actually. I think I really, really love the religion, so it came easier to me than if I was forced into the religion and like somebody told me, oh, you have to do this and you can't do that. The way I was introduced to the religion was not in a manner of, okay, Zakirah, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. I was taught why we don't do that to make me understand whether, like, if I understand, then I'd be more willing to do it. But I noticed when I did revert, I started a new job, and everybody was, once they found out that I wasn't born Muslim, they were like, oh, so you can't do this, and you can't eat that, and you can't dress this way. And like, everybody else had a problem besides me. And they try to make it seem like, can you do this? Can you even do this? And like, it was like a pop quiz all the time. So I think
Oh.
it's not actually the hardest thing that I had to deal with was in the religion. The hardest thing was people's perspective of the religion and trying to like constantly quiz me and like take me away from it to say that, no, Islam is too hard. I feel like Islam is not hard. People just make it hard, because
Yes.
they too in love with this Western society, and it's glamorized so much that being modest or practicing Islam seems like it's so difficult. And my favorite thing would be the love that Muslims have for their Creator. It's very difficult to find people that mock, like born Muslims or Muslims, practicing Muslims that mock the religion in themselves or mock the God that we pray to. It's just that there's so much love in every day when you speak. Like if you talk to a Muslim person, they greet you using the name of God. They constantly thank God in the way they speak. They constantly using terms to glorify God. I haven't seen that in any other religion, especially in the religion that I came from. I mean, we could go an entire day without talking about God, but in Islam, there's just such a closeness to the relationship that you have with your Creator, which I love so much.
How about you, Nabila? Do you have any favorite part of Islam?
Um, I do. There's actually a lot that I like about it. Um, okay, wait, I'm gonna start off with what I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
or the hardest part for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardest part, like Zakira said, it's the Western influence. So because I grew up going to Christian schools and only having non-Muslim, well, I had a few Muslim friends, but mostly growing up with non-Muslims, you kind of want to, like, do what they doing, and you feel kind of embarrassed that you have to dress a certain way that they not dressing in, and this struggle to fit in as a Muslim, and also because they had no idea about Islam, they would mock you, or and also I find like Muslims are so underrepresented in the media, or in movies, or if it is in movies, it's they portrayed as evil, bad, or terrorists. There's no cartoons with Muslim characters, and you have no representation, so your friends don't know what your life is about, or what your religion is about, or they can't really relate. So you kind of like have to dim yourself down and your religion down to fit
Yes.
in with them, which was difficult as a kid. But as you grow up, you feel more comfortable in your skin, and you accept how beautiful your religion actually is. Um, and also, wait, the hardest thing is waking up to eat in the morning. I would rather fast without eating, but waking up at 4 in the morning to eat, that is my test. I always say this is my test from God, because I cannot deal. And when people talk to me so early, I'm just like, please, no. I told my family this year, I'm just like, please don't talk to me in the morning. So yeah, I saw my father just ignored me this morning, which is nice. But yeah, so like my favorite part about Islam would be um the the rights of women are protected. I know in certain countries they make Islam seem like, it's such a bad thing and women don't have rights, and but once you read the Quran and you actually explore the stories in there, and it's you actually see that women have a lot of rights, and women are meant to be protected. So I think that is my favorite part about Islam, um, treasuring women.
And women are so respected as well in Islam. I was actually shocked when I reverted to see how like a male would interact with a female Muslim, especially if like she's wearing hijab and stuff. Like you just see there's a shift in the way you speak to somebody, in the way you make eye contact and like interact in general, which I loved. I actually loved so much.
Uh,
Uh,
so we shall point out that the whole thing going on about women in Islam has nothing to do with some specific countries. So, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, women could not drive up until last year, I think. But that is not because of Islam. That's because of Saudi culture. So you should not. So the thing happening in the Western world, and I can see that because I live in it. The Some people usually tend to mistake religion with culture, and they tend to mix them, and they cannot see the blurred line between what's religion and what's culture. So women in Saudi Arabia cannot drive not because of religion, but because of their culture, their laws. So it's a Saudi Arabia thing. In Morocco, which is another Muslim country, women can drive. Same goes for Egypt. Same goes for Tunisia or any other, basically any other country. So some things that you see going on in Saudi Arabia, in the Arab Emirates, in Qatar, they are not religion. They are born out of their culture, out of their civilization. I'm not here to judge them, their choice. But at the same time, you have to understand that's not religion at all. So yes, women are valued in Islam, and ultimately they are created by God. So how can a God create a human being and then go on and say disrespect this human being? That's utterly stupid to think of it. So that's not religion, that's culture, and that's it.
What about you? What's your favorite part, and what's the most difficult thing for you?
Um, I should say the most difficult thing with religion itself, not about the community, but the religion. Um, so you have to understand that you cannot abide by all rules. You are going to fall from time to time. So you're not going to be perfect. The thing I've struggled with the most in the past is trying to be perfect from a religion's point of view. The only person who managed to be perfect to us is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is the only person who managed to be perfect in the eyes of religion. So when you fall and when you make mistakes, you have to accept that and go on. And I have to say that I felt some kind of pressure growing up, having to be perfect from a religion point of view, which is not possible, which is impossible, let alone doing it while you are not in a Muslim country. So yes, I think that's personally the hardest thing I had to accept. My favorite thing, I actually have two favorite things about Islam. First of all, is this is not meant as any sign of disrespect to my Catholic friends or Christian friends. We do not have any church, any pope. There's no intermediary. It's just you, your book, and religion. It's really personal. Religion, it comes to be very, very personal in our case, and I like that thing. So we don't have, for instance, a pope who says we should do this, we should not do that, we could do this, we could not do that. And there is some say that we need some guidance, and guidance is provided when you have doubts or things. Guidance is provided by imams. So you go to someone who's actually who has actually been reading the book and everything, and they might know more than you do. But at the end of it, that's not a rule. So if the imam says you should not do this, that's not a rule. You can go on and do that, and you can go by your interpretation of the religion. And I think there's a blurred line there as well. I mean, yes, of course you can interpret, but there are certain things that you could not interpret, and you just have to abide by them. But then again, they're on the book and not said by someone else. The other thing I like very, very much is the sense of community Muslims have around the world. I can see that I don't think I have that, because if I see a human being, be them Muslim or Christian or anything, it's really quite the same to me. But I can see that in some people close to me who tend to always be on the Muslim side. If there's a Muslim versus anyone else, I'm on the Muslim side. That is no, that's peculiar, but it's a sense of community which I hardly see in any other religion in the world. So I think those are my favorite things about Islam.
Yeah, I think that also with the going back to where you said, you struggle with being perfect, and I think we were made imperfect, and I think we were made that way because in the Quran it says, God loves to forgive you, and our us being imperfect is a way of us always turning back to Him, just keep coming back to Him and asking for forgiveness. And also that direct contact we have, if we need forgiveness or we need to ask for forgiveness, we just pick up our hands and ask Him directly. And I always see in these movies and stuff when they go to church and they go in that little like box thing, and then they telling the priest, I want to confess my sins and stuff. Like there's none of that in Islam. Like we already know God knows all our sins. But it's a matter of just, picking up your hand and asking him directly for forgiveness, which is something I really love. And I overuse my I don't know if there's a quota, but I think
I think I've exceeded the quota. I think I've exceeded the quota. And I wanted to ask you both, what's your schedule during Ramadan? How do you usually go through the day? Zakirah, how about you?
I actually wrote a timetable down, to be honest with you, because I just wanted to be able to make the best use of this Ramadan. So in the morning, it's me waking up quite early because I want to do my tahajjud salah. And I've actually been, I'm in partnership with Penny Appeal. So it's an international organization that raises funds for all different types of charities, like relief projects basically around the world. So I've been partnered up with this challenge for the thirst relief campaign in particular. So I've been challenged to do 3 things. So that's why I needed to make a schedule this year, just to make sure that I can be a part of everything that I need to do. So waking up for my tahajjud salah, I do my sehri, then my fajr, and then, I've got to do like my ayatul kursi, read all my zikr and stuff. So, remembrance of Allah. Read some Quran. So I want to be able to complete the Quran by the end of the month. And this will be the first year that I will be able to complete the Quran by the end of the month, because as I mentioned, my previous years, I didn't know that you even meant to complete the Quran, reading it in Ramadan. So I set aside how many pages I'm meant to do after every salah, after every prayer that I'm doing. Then I go back to sleep for a little while, and then I wake up for work, come to work, read more Quran, do whatever I need to do, read my salahs. Then fortunately I work for a Muslim company, so they understand, and we leave work earlier than I usually would on a normal day, so that I can go home just to prepare for breaking my fast, prepare food and stuff. So it's me breaking my fast alone because I don't have Muslim family. It's just me that has reverted. So it's quite lonely, actually.
I'll invite you over to my house. You can come and break your fast here.
I'd love to come. I would love to come, because it's been this would be my 3rd Ramadan, and I still have not broken my fast with anybody else. It's just been lonely. So, so it's me just preparing for that, reading more Salah, Quran, and then doing Taraweeh by myself again. So that's why I'm saying I created this group chat that I have, so that, for anybody else that's feeling lonely, we can just message each other through the phone and say okay, did you wake up yet? Did you read your Taraweeh? Did, have that community and, that friendship going with other people, which is actually awesome, because we've never met each other, any of us, and we just speak like we're long lost friends because we share similar experiences. So that's my day plan. I'm hoping that maybe I can get a few people together and then actually have an iftar together with a few other reverts or Muslim people. And then maybe for Eid, I want to plan to actually have a celebration and feel that vibe that everybody feels, that celebration, because I never had it. Eid has just been me sitting alone in my house. So it's quite simple, my day plan, but that's it. What about yours?
No, I wanted to ask you, learning the Quran. So how is that experience for you? Because I always wonder, I'm like, okay, if I marry a non-Muslim guy and he reverts, how is he going to learn to read Quran? Because it's so difficult. Learning Arabic is difficult.
Do you know, when I first started the madrasa, I thought that learning Arabic was so hard. I found it so difficult, I'm not going to lie to you. And then I started another madrasa a few months later after lockdown. And with the teacher that I had, I felt it so much easier. And also I felt I was actually speaking to a friend of mine, and my friend told me that, when Allah wants you to come closer to the religion, He will open up your heart and He will make you reading His Quran easier. And I honestly felt that this time around when I started my lessons from scratch again. I felt like my heart was open because now it's easier for me to identify letters and stuff. I haven't completely learned how to read the Quran yet. I'm still on book 1. I'm still a child, like I'm in grade like 3 or something.
Yeah.
um,
No,
so
but it's still that's incredible progress. I feel like if I wasn't born Muslim and I had to learn the religion now, it would be so difficult for me. Like I mean, sometimes I still, if I'm reading Quran, um I just put on the Quranic recital, like whatever
yes.
verse or page I'm reading, I'll just listen to it on my headphones as well. Um, just to help me along as well, because I mean
That's
sometimes I
actually a
also
very good idea. I think I should actually do that as well.
yeah.
That's
And
such a
something
good
also
tip.
I learned as I got older, I was like, I've just been reading the Quran and I don't why am I just reading, I'm reading. So I started a few years ago, just starting every page I read, I would read the translation, to understand what I'm reading.
Yes,
um
yes.
so yeah, my parents always want to have competitions, like who can finish the Quran first, and I'm like, I'm not that person. I need to understand what
What
I'm
you're
reading
reading.
first. Yeah. So yeah,
No,
I
definitely.
take a bit longer, but yeah, and I also do the whole reading, just to also helps you with your pronunciation. And yeah.
Thanks for that tip. I'm definitely going to use it.
Oh, marvelous. What's your schedule during Ramadan, Nabila?
Mine. Oh, I've told you this so many times. I just wing it at life. Whatever way the wind blows, that's but usually I'll get up, have my struggle through my breakfast. And then I yeah, I read a bit of Quran, and then I go back to sleep, wake up. Now that I'm working, I work, do a bit of work. Yeah, I think today my mother wants me to cook, so I'm gonna make a pasta.
Oh, treat it
Yeah,
well.
I know my mother's slowly like easing me into this cooking thing. Last week I made supper as well,
Wait.
one of the
What kind
things.
of pasta?
I want to try that TikTok one. The one with
Oh, it's
the
really
block of
nice.
so
Feta.
last week I made a normal pasta.
What does
Um,
normal pasta mean? Sorry.
I mean like a the
An Italian is speaking. Watch your
yeah.
words.
I'm just like I like realized that I'm just
What's a normal pasta?
the traditional way of making pasta.
Right, so if I come to see any picture depicting a pasta not well done, I will get very, very angry. So please treat it well. Pasta is a national treasure here.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, so today I'm gonna try that TikTok one. I know I'm a bit delayed, but I procrastinate these things. Um,
Mamma
I'll
mia.
take pictures and I'll let you know how that turns out. And then at night, it's breaking your fast, reading more. I think nighttime is my favorite time to pray, because I just feel like the world is so quiet outside, and you just have that connection. Yeah, so I prefer praying at night than in the mornings. In the mornings, I'm so tired. I genuinely, my eyes struggle to open. And my throat also just cannot open for that food. So night times are definitely better for me.
Oh, what do you usually eat when you wake up like midnight during the night?
Well, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning,
Uh-huh.
so it's not in the middle of the night.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. Sorry. Yeah, when you wake up at
I
4:30.
usually just have cereal. I'll have a glass of water and a date.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh God.
Oh my word, how do you manage on cereal? I know a lot of people say don't have cereal because it's gonna digest so fast and then you're just gonna be hungry.
Oh no, I find it fine. I can survive the day. It's just getting the food in is the difficult. I'll if I can help it, I'll just have a date, a banana and water, and I'll be good to go.
Oh, very good. I usually have a sandwich with eggs and cheese, and
Yeah.
then yogurt and a chocolate milk. No, a hot chocolate. And water, and that's it. Or at times we usually even cook pasta, like 180 grams each, just to survive the day.
Does your mom make?
No, so my mom, she doesn't wake up to eat, so it's just me and my brother basically, and my father, who actually, yeah, he just eats, then he goes back to sleep for an hour, and then he wakes back again to go to work. So yeah, what do you usually eat for iftar?
Not a lot because I'm just like my stomach
What?
is so, I
I
know
think you're
I'll
gonna
have a
lose so
date.
much weight. You probably would be like, I mean, you're not eating
No,
at all. How
that's
are you
my
not
issue. I don't
eating?
even lose weight. I don't know why. Like I don't eat, but I don't lose weight. So annoying. Anyways,
Who
yeah. So
cares?
then
Who
whatever my
cares
mother
about
cooks.
weight? Oh my lord. Who cares about weight? Just eat. How are you surviving?
Exactly. How is your
Yeah.
stomach just not like making noise
This
because you're
guys,
not
this is the
eating?
purpose of Ramadan. It's to get a feel of how the other half live below the poverty
Yeah,
line.
I do that during the day. During
Yes,
the
yes.
night, I want to be in the first world. So
Also, I mean, some people in some countries don't even have anything to break their fast with, and they still fast.
that's true.
Those are my heroes. Those people who have nothing, in war-torn countries and refugees who have nothing, and they still fast when every day is basically fasting for them. When I hear those stories, I cry so much. I just like
Hmm. No,
forgive
that's true.
I'm like forgive me when I complain about food.
Hmm. Yeah, but I do that as well. But the thing is, I keep complaining about food anyway.
No, you are a special case.
Oh
I
well.
just brush my hands off. Anyway, so we haven't before we wrap up, people are like, but what if you're sick and do you still have to fast? Or obviously there are exceptions to the rules. You don't have to fast if you are diabetic, if you have a chronic illness. Like we said, Islam is not hard. So
No, it's really, yeah, sorry
if you're
for
an old
interrupting.
person,
It's really
sorry?
flexible. It's really flexible. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
And even if you're traveling, so no illness, no anything, even if you're just traveling, you are allowed not to fast during that day because, with
Yeah,
traveling
but
is
then
not
you catch it up later.
exactly.
Also, if you are menstruating, if you are old and senile, if you are breastfeeding, if you are pregnant and you can't manage, or if you just gave birth. So it's not like, oh my God, you have to fast. It's like compulsory. And you obviously, if you are able to afterwards, you can catch up those fasts, or you have to catch up those fasts. Um, but if you like, because of health reasons, if you absolutely cannot fast, you pay towards charity, um, as your repayment for not fasting. So yeah, you know what I struggle with is catching up those fasts afterwards. Because outside of Ramadan, fasting is so difficult. I find it easier in the month, but afterwards, like once I traveled, my sister and I drove from Cape Town to Durban during Ramadan last year. And I was like, there's no way I'm catching this fast up. I am going to fast while I'm traveling.
Yeah. I do that as well. I usually just fast,
Yeah.
whatever
If it's a
happens.
2-hour flight or whatnot, I'm just like, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, nowadays on the planes, they don't even serve food. So what's the point?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every time I travel between Cape Town and Durban, it's yeah, there's no food, and
Oh
if you
right,
want
yeah,
water,
on low cost. Yeah, when I go to
mm,
Morocco on low cost as well, they don't serve food. I think one
They just
year,
give a small snack.
hmm yeah, one year when I went, I think when I went to Japan, I was traveling with Emirates, which is this Dubai
yes.
flying company. And since the Muslim, they brought meals to us while when when we were supposed to eat to break our fast. So that was cute.
Wait, you traveled to
Good.
Japan while you're fasting?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I what I did is I took the place where I was starting my traveling from, which is Italy, and I just based all my eating hours based on Italy. From here to Japan, it was like I think a 12 hours flight, something like that. No, maybe more. No, sorry, it was a 24 hours flight.
Jeez, no,
Yeah.
I would never travel internationally while fasting.
Oh yeah, it's not hard at all. I just kept. So when I started from Italy, I ate based on Italian time, and then I stopped in Dubai. I had a connecting flight in Dubai. Went to Dubai, had a shower, and hopped on the next plane, and I basically started fasting based on the Dubai hour. And then when I got to Japan, it was like the day before the Eid. So yeah, nothing much was missed.
Wow, that's
It's not hard at all.
so.
That's
Did you celebrate
dedication, though.
Eid in Japan?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah, I think that day we were in Tokyo. Yeah, I think so. I can't remember if it was Japan or Singapore, but one of the two. And I think we had no, it was Singapore. Sorry, it was Singapore because there was this Muslim community which is quite strong in Malaysia and Singapore. Malaysia
Yes.
is a Muslim country, so it was so easy to celebrate Eid. And then yeah, we went on with our holiday.
Okay, nice. I know my family don't like traveling unless it's local to go spend Eid in a different in with our family either in Cape Town or Durban. Um, so yeah, my family would never like if we plan holidays, it's always after Ramadan or before Ramadan.
Well, we don't celebrate with our whole family. We live in Italy, and so
Oh
it's
yeah.
hard to celebrate with everyone else. So it's just the four of us. Up until it's the four of us, we can be in Japan, in Singapore, in Italy, wherever, and it's fine. It's fine with us. Yes, of course, celebrating in Morocco with the whole family and everything is far better. But at the same time, I don't know. It's like the four of us here, and we are family. So we are the most
Yeah.
important people to
That was my
celebrate with.
family last year because it was like hard lockdown, so it was
Oh,
just the five of us at home. Um, it was quite boring, but it was nice. Yeah, we try to
Boring
make.
for you.
Oh yeah, I
You're sitting
forget that you
alone.
you are alone. I'll invite you over to my house. You can spend Eid with my
Okay.
family this year. Then maybe it won't be boring.
Hopefully.
This is an open invite.
oh, that's cute. That's very good.
Yeah. If you want to fly to South Africa and spend Eid with my family too, you're more than
Yeah.
welcome.
Well, so we've gone over the hour again. Thank you for having been with us, and thank you, Zakira, for sharing your experience with us. It's been
Thanks for
precious.
having me.
Any last
Uh,
words from anyone?
last words.
Any last words?
Ramadan Mubarak to everybody that's celebrating.
Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I have my mouth is so dry. The literally last thing I want to do is last words.
Oh yes. Now, sorry we made you talk a bit too much.
Yeah. No worries. Any last words from you, Nabila?
No, I'm
Why
fine. I've
why
said my last.
why did you ask it then?
I don't know. Maybe someone wanted to say something.
That's fine. That's fine.
I
Ramadan
asked it. I
Mubarak.
didn't expect you to ask me back.
Oh, okay. Sorry for doing that. So Ramadan Mubarak, everyone. Thank you for having been with us. If you have any questions regarding Ramadan, regarding Islam, just text us, DM us at JustNabz. Is it JustNabz or JustNabz podcast?
JustNabz podcast.
Oh, JustNabz podcast on any social media platform. We wish you a great end of the week.
And you can also catch Zakirah if you want to catch her content on any platforms. Zakirah, what are your socials?
So my TikTok account is Zakirah Shah, ZAKIRAHSHAH, and then my Instagram is with love KZS_.
Marvelous. So
then you can catch Zakirah, and if you are a revert and want to join her community, you can do so.
You can actually
they can contact you on those platforms, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
marvelous. So thank you for sticking up
Thank
with
you so
us.
much for joining us.
Yep. And we will
Thank
talk to you
you.
next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.